when you have a big overarching desire, like I want to be more confident, I want to lose weight, I want to build a business, I want to get in a relationship, these things are so big and broad that your actual desire is not really present. And so what I do is I bring people down into the smallest action and actually do a practice of meditation on the core desire. And this isn't meditation like the way you think of like Eastern meditation, where you sit and just become aware of your thoughts and you do nothing and all that stuff. No, this is actually a meditative exercise. You are acting in this process and you are getting things done in this practice. And so I have people sit down and go into the practice of, what do you want in the next 30 seconds? What do you want in this next minute? If you can't figure out what you want in the next 30 seconds, if you don't know what flavor of ice cream you like, you can't figure out how you're going to conquer a country. You can't figure out how you're going to build a business. You can't figure out how you're going to, change the world. And there's so many people who want these massive overarching life goal accomplishments, and they don't know what flavor of ice cream they like. They don't know, what they want to do for the evening. They don't know what would make them feel like they've accomplished something that week. And if you think of desire and clarity and accomplishment and success as skill sets, as opposed to results, if you think of them as things that you build over time, as opposed to things that just happen to you, then it's very obvious that you need to start with a small step and then get good at it. And then through that skill of being good at it, be able to take bigger steps. And so this is a key component to human growth, is learning how to tap into something small enough that you have clarity on it. And then once you do that, you get the skill of clarity and you just become clear on bigger and bigger things through the practice.
And how do you distinguish between like a desire and an impulse, for example?
I love it. So I go through this exactly. So the way I like to frame it is, it's the difference between a desire and a craving. And the difference is very simple. The difference between a desire and a craving is, a desire is something that you want, and when you get it, it makes you more. And a craving is something that you want, and when you get it, it makes you less. And so it's really mind-blowing. And most people struggle with the concept of desire because they haven't split out desire into separate categories. And so because of that, we have a cultural demonization of desire, which is, most religions are like, ooh, like whatever you want, it's bad, right? Like don't tap into those human cravings and desires, that, that's the path to evil, right? All of that comes about because humans haven't been taught discernment. And if you can learn a little bit of discernment, which is, okay, there are different types of wants in the world. And if you can learn to identify the difference between what you want that makes you less and what you want that makes you more, you can start choosing things that you honestly want, the things that you just like hunger for, the way, a lion hungers after an antelope, and chase after it with all of the power and passion that desire fuels you with. And it can lead you to a positive place instead of a negative one. You can be empowered by your own human drives because you have tapped into a little bit of this discernment. And I love that you brought this up, because this is literally the second section in the program that I teach. Like, the first section is getting this clarity, and the second section is tapping into what you want and doing it in a positive manner. Because this is how you develop the skill of clarity and purpose. This is how you develop the skill of knowing what you want, of knowing what to do, and feeling like what you're doing matters, is having alignment with this.
Exactly. And sometimes I have this inner conflict, because imagine the mountain climber. This is to illustrate this inner conflict. So you have the mountain climber that wants to go up the hill and wants to arrive to the top, and no matter like he has some hardships to fight, and he has to overcome some obstacles and stuff like that, and that this part of his journey, and then you have the other mountain climber that says, oh, today is very cold, I'm feeling tired, like why I don't just stay at the base camp and like drinking beers and whatever, like why would I put myself to go to all this hardship to go to the top? And this perfectly, like you said, because if I go to the top and I'm able to control my impulses, then I'm able to be more. And on the other hand, if I stay at the base camp, fulfilling all my cravings at the moment, my dopamine hits and so on, I will, in the end of the day, I'll be having less or becoming less instead of more.
And this is a beautiful example, because the thing is that if your mind just says, well, I just want to be at the top of the mountain, that's very vague. And it doesn't give you a clear direction when you're at the base camp and it's cold and wet and rainy.
Exactly.
And because you also have a desire, which is, I don't want to be cold and wet, right?
Exactly.
Like, that's real. But if you
Exactly.
are honing in on, okay, it's morning time, and I know that I have this overarching goal to get to the top of the mountain, but it's morning and it's cold and wet out, and I don't feel like getting out of my tent. But what do I want in this moment? Okay, well, I don't want to be cold and wet, but I'd also like to be less affected by cold and wet. I'd also like to feel like I could take on the challenges of the world. I also feel like I would like to be able to, in this case, like be able to transcend this difficulty. And it's not, I want to get to the top of the mountain, I want to transcend all difficulties. It's, you know what? I want to be able to handle this morning chill. Then all of a sudden, you don't have to think in these broad strokes. You can think in tiny steps of, oh, well, my goal isn't to get to the top of my mountain. The goal is to open the tent zipper. The goal is to, get out by the campfire and, stoke the fire a little bit. There's still some coals left. And I want to be able to be willing to like handle a little bit of raindrops on my back while I get this fire going and warm up, and then hop up and down beside the fire. And now, oh, well, look, I'm actually excited now I want to go on a hike. And oh, look, now I'm hiking up the mountain. And you get halfway there, and now the mountain's closer. And you go, okay, well, I want to get to the next quarter, but also I can see the mountain. And so now the bigger goal is more real to me. And all of this turns into a skill set. You build this skill set over time. And so this is what I teach. And this is what you can do when you just narrow in where you are trying to get clarity. If you'd like to build your life and business with me, go to the link below or go to apply.joshterryplays.com.